Yes, we are here to do the star signs. I don't look fantastic, but we need to get these done. This is going to cover the new moon in Libra. Definitely had some psychic downloads, and I thought, gee, you know, we really need to get on this because it is coming up on the 25th, and all of us are wanting a little bit of balance. And it's funny, I'm a bloody Libra, so this is like, okay, we are in the thick of it. Now, we do have some heavy hitting transits until we get to the moon. So if you have been feeling tense, I would say pretty much from the 19th, there was a very large energy coming through and it was pretty heavy. We are moving into a new chapter. I did particularly give some predictions where it did come to the full moon in Pisces. And Pisces really is going to be making some aspects during this moon. So we're going to have an opposition to Neptune and Pisces and to Jupiter, and both of them are in retrograde. So, you know, particularly we are going to get into the tips. Then we're going to go star sign by star sign. We're going to talk about your chakras and how that can directly be affecting you. So if I do have banners up, you're still going to hear the audio, and we're going to go section by section. So as I mentioned, with the new moon, it is occurring at 2 degrees. It's going to be at 2 degrees. It's on the 25th. Moon always can relate to, you know, your deep emotions, your intuition. It's a brand new beginning. Definitely because Mercury is retrograde at the moment in the house of Libra. You know, it's one of those, it's kind of good as long as you don't have attachment. There's going to be a lot of cross wires. You're going to presume you know how things are going to go. A lot of us at the moment, I did call this month a little bit like Jenga. You know, you're pulling things out of your life that aren't working. You know instinctually something new is coming. So we have to take on new ways of dealing with things. We need to take on a new vibration. It is sort of this forgiveness as well. It's almost like in a negotiation. You're trying to get to a space where you're being fair and understanding. But again, because we are feeling very uncertain, you know, life can be a little bit like a dog eat dog world sort of thing. So we can have this protectiveness, you know, because we're protecting ourselves. So we can be in this judgment energy, so to speak, especially because Mars is in the house of Gemini. It will be retrograding in October. You know, we can be very, you know, almost scrolling social media, having opinions, and feeling almost like we're being pulled in many directions. And the intellect at the moment is just really, really overwhelmed with too much information, so to speak. So sometimes less is more. Really taking time to get grounded, taking time to have a little bit of time for yourself. I'd say it's really good to actually move through this, but not necessarily make any abrupt sudden decisions. Some of these things can come out of left field. And I do particularly feel with, as I mentioned, we do have Neptune in the mix. It is making an opposition. And that can be difficulties. You know, it's quite taboo in the astrology world. It's almost like, oh gosh, an opposition. You know, we do have Jupiter making an opposition, and that's to do with growth, expansion, liberation. We can have we will have so many different subjects coming up. Trade. You know, and again, try to avoid pacifiers during this time, because one thing I can say is, you know, it's almost like your hopes and dreams and aspirations, maybe love, you know, because we're looking at Libra here. It's a very Venus sign. It's to do with justice, fairness, balance. It can be trade, finances, money. These things, we do have an opposition, which means there's difficulties. You know, there's more work. There's two opposing forces here. There could be an external circumstances that is a problem here. That can actually be a person in a given situation. And especially with both Jupiter. So on the day, I would say give it a couple of days after if you need to make any, but these seeds we're planting at the moment are for new beginnings. And I do feel it's quite a pivotal time, you know, in our lives where we're doing the Jenga, taking things out of our life, trying to cast a judgment on circumstances, trying to be fair and understanding, but having these brand new situations popping off. That really, you know, we do have some nice astrology coming in next month. And when I say nice, it's nicer than what we've had. And then it peaks up again as we do have Mars moving retrograde. So the things that you're going to find, we can have marriages, contracts, partnerships, things to do with home, mother, because it's moon. heightened emotions, but we have these necessary changes. So some of the things we might see could be things to do with trade, money, new rules, new laws, maybe partnerships, breakups, makeups, divorces, reconciliations. But it also can be to do with your career because, you know, some of you might be, we look back to the last time we had Mercury retrograde in Libra, and in the collective, we called it the Great Resignation. Now, at this time, I feel it's to do with different things because it is bouncing between Virgo and Libra. As we do move forward into October, Mercury is going to move back into Virgo. At the moment, it's in the house of Libra and it will be in retrograde. So having to have these new beginnings at an emotional level, especially where it comes to our family, home, children, lots of things are going to come up for those of you that have kids. You're sort of making them based on assumption during a retrograde. So it's quite a difficult time to be making these decisions. That doesn't mean to say it's not a good time to make decisions. I do tend to find that when Mercury is retrograde, it kind of does aid in a little bit of a life audit, really to get your body in balance, especially because it's Libra. It's like you could be looking at nutrition, you could be looking at wellness, you know, how to balance yourself. Is your routine balanced? Is there something that you feel is off kilter and you need to have these hard conversations? That can be with people around you. And the pressure's really on. So we kind of feel that it's a bubble ready to pop, so to speak. So something's got to give and we're moving all these things around. So when it does come to these renegotiations, Mercury retrograde is really good to talk, okay? Not, you know, to really speak from your point of view and not speak from the other. Because when we're taking it personal, it's quite combative, especially because at the moment Mars is in, you know, Gemini. So on a communication level, psychological level, trying to get onto each other's page and have that communication, there's going to be with families, stress levels, potential crosswires and misunderstandings, a lot of gossip, okay? Don't necessarily, and it's already popping off, you know, we've been seeing it in the media. Don't believe everything you hear. Try to stay quite productive with your time, especially moving into October, because you really have 3 to 4 weeks, you know, Mars will be going into shadow. And so you want to have that productivity moving forward. You could go down the rabbit hole and then find you're getting sidetracked. Now, a lot of us did feel, you know, moving into this chapter, especially from August, it was really popping off around August, moving into this phase, is that for us, when it did come to these circumstances, right, where it does come to this moon, is that we were kind of feeling that something was off, that something had to give, that balance and harmony needed to return, that justice needed to prevail. And that might have been you felt you were unfairly treated. This could have been in a romantic connection. This could have been difficulties you were experiencing, you know, due to having an overburdened schedule. And as we moved into this month, we did have the full moon in Pisces. With this moon in particular, the new moon in Libra, we sort of by this stage in the game may feel a little bit down, a little bit depressed. We are disillusioned. It's a little bit like Hansel and Gretel. You know, we had the bread and we saw the stream and we went down and we were creating this image of what we wanted our life to be. And it's like a lot of us have actually hit a wall and gone, oh crap, okay, that maybe wasn't how I thought it was going to go. I've wasted my time. I'm not successful. And it can be over 100 things. So I'm telling you, we will get into that with your star sign. So if you do feel all these things coming through and you're getting cross at yourself because something hasn't worked out the way you wanted it to and done on it, you know, just keep falling down and you're trying to get yourself back up. It does make sense, but it does mean it can be recycled, right? And it can be re-enhanced, but it does feel as though something needs to be pulled out to be retweaked and reconfigured. What we do need to be wary of is being delusional during this moon. So it can be, you know, hunch-based things. Use your intuition. You know, it wouldn't be one of those days that you use a pacifier, and that is because of the opposition. to Neptune and Pisces. We may want to, you know, through this energy, you know, have drinks, avoid the circumstance, go into fantasizing, being over optimistic, and it's just give it a couple of days. Try to not avoid the emotion. Have you ever done it? You know, I call it, you know, Virgo energy can have a tendency to, we can get stuck in the devil of the detail, right? If you do find yourself in avoidance, scrambling, trying to pick everything up, and you don't quite know what's going on between now and the new moon, and even a couple of days after if you need to, listen to your body and listen to what is coming up for you. What you can find is the problem equals the solution. So where that intensity comes from, there lies the solution. And really listen to yourself. Try to not feel you're on a time schedule. Try to not rush yourself going through this. If you have known that you needed to do something for a long time, it might be time to pay the ferryman. Do you get what I'm saying? Some of these things are out of our control, but you can have some instincts to do with it. So there is a possibility of wanting to be psychologically not present because of the feelings. Great time to clear your house. So number one tip. Okay, let it sit for a few days, right? Don't feel you got to do something right away. Be careful around your family. You may, look, it's a new moon, but what has to happen in a new moon? Any hands up? An ending. It can be emotional. We could be reflective. We could be disillusioned. We could be a little bit like, oh, I want to have a new beginning, but am I ready for it? And it comes down to family. Could be, okay, are we going to be able to survive? You know, basic instincts. Are we going to have enough food, shelter, water? What are the family's belief systems to do with some things that you're doing? It can be very creative. We may see a spike in fertility. There can be disagreements, but it's a new beginning. So grievances that do come up are negotiable, but we need to be realistic. Sometimes oppositions do this. So give it a couple of days. Let it sit for a few days. Make sure you clean your house. Charge your water. Good time. Good time. So stay logical. Try to not go into pacifies. Not the best time. You could have some psychic attacks for those of you that are less privy in the spiritual world to that information, because Neptune is in the mix. You could have some psychic downloads. You might be very susceptible through your crown chakra. You may need extra fluid to actually support you. It's heart chakra and solar plexus, but because of the other aspects going on, it's a witch's cauldron, okay? But predominantly, it's, you know, the heart chakra expansion is really the manifestation. So it's money, value. You know, you look at you as an energy source. Great time to charge crystals. You could use pink quartz. You can use jade for abundance. I definitely, when it comes to manifestation, the further into it you get, which I will do some education videos soon, I'm tweaking a lot of things on the website, making myself more available for YouTube and the other platforms. So there is going to be a lot more content coming similar to this and to do with everything spiritual. So what I can say is trust that universe has your back. Less is more. When you think on something, we generally have an ego attachment, so we don't tend to manifest too well. So don't get your knickers in a twist and get to a point you think, I've got to be very intentional about what I want. Because they actually, universe does bring it to you a lot better than we do. So clear your home, charge your crystals, do your spiritual baths. Don't be drinking wine and getting in the bath. You know, Neptune's making an opposition. You might not be as buoyant as you'd like to be. I'm just saying. And not everything's going to be clear, and be okay with that. Find forgiveness. Great time to do cord cutting. Great time to find forgiveness to a person that did something wrong to you, and just know that they probably know no better. But those cord cutting energies, You know, it can be karmic ties relating to beliefs we had in our childhood of what we could do, what we could, you know, especially in this day and age of what we're going through right now in the collective. There's lots changing and we want advice from people. And there is always great value in the old advice, but there's also new situations. So take it where it applies. Be open to change, give and take. Good old Libra. Mercury is still going to be in retrograde. So yes, there could be some situations that do crop up. Some people might want to move jobs. There can be changes in new alliances. Now, as it comes to jobs, the one thing I can say about Mercury retrograde, if suddenly you were like, you know what I'm doing isn't working, tweak it. Do that background. Not a great time because Mercury is retrograde to launch new things. Talk about it. Get it prepared in the background, ready for October. And do expect to have some changes as you do go through. It's quite funny because it's almost like, you know, the moon relating to Libra. It could be that some people are looking at home-based businesses, which I'm going to be doing education content both here and on the website to do with that for those of you that are wanting to start a business. So yes, it can be that you're looking at, okay, can I get a secondary income source? Is there something I can do to actually generate some of that coming through? It can also be moving in with a loved one, you know, a love interest or somebody moving out. There's something's going to be coming and we'll look at it in your star signs. So in a Mercury retrograde and the new moon in Libra, if you weren't happy with your job, subjects to do with jobs in particular industries will be predominant. And that could be daycare, school, Mars in Gemini, nurses, we've seen that in the media. Regardless of what it is, if you put your resume out now, and I'm in Australia, so we call it resume, feel free to comment down below and tell me what you guys call it in your country and where you're from. Generally, as it goes direct, you have this, you get all these opportunities coming to you, and we're finding our tribe. You also should be realistic because Mars is going retrograde next month, and don't bite off more than you can chew. Psychic downloads, great ideas, really colorful ones will come up, and we need to be realistic because the transits for the rest of the year, you'll be working hard with Mars going retrograde. Okay, so changes, new alliances. From an ascension point of view, keep your fluid up. Try to avoid pacifiers. Great time between now and October and the new moon in Libra is that we could be turning over a new leaf when it comes to bad habits. Now that can be thought processes, daily activities, the people we socialize with, the things that we do in our pastime, what we used to value, trying to find balance in our routine. Your ascension, dehydration. Drink extra fluid, especially for certain zodiac signs, which I will get into. The other thing I can say is heart chakra. Eat food group, eat light, you know, because it does feel at the moment that the nervousness is coming through. So food groups to support your nervous system. You know, always, if you have a specialty diet or anything to that degree, always talk to your professional over me any day. This is astrological based and chakra and orientation relating to the transits. Keep your fluid up. Digestion at the moment through stress might not be coming through. Try and eat balanced, but the green food groups can really help. The other thing is inner child work can be coming up. Great time to clear your house. Great time to create some space and get your ducks in a row. Complete the tasks that are really tedious and irritating you so that you can have a couple of days grace around that moon and it can help you transition through. Now, let's get into your star signs. I'll be ready. What star signs do we have in the house? Any particular star signs? I'm feeling great now. Let's start for yeah, so, you know, all of these business-related dynamics that we're looking at, I think the thing is of what we're experiencing is that there's so many variables. It's a little bit like the full card in Taurus, especially because this is at 2 degrees. We're kind of being thrown in the deep end. You're going to have a lot of creative juice. The only advice I physically could give you, both being a psychic medium, looking at astrology, experiencing the transits, is you're going to be tired, right? And some of these things, so Uranus and Taurus, they're going to take a lot longer than you expected. So it's to don't bite off more than you can chew, because what we're trying to find in our lives now is harmony. You know, if you have, you know, sometimes we can go, wow, you know, and that's the Neptune. Not necessarily run with everything, but kind of, you know, in October, you'll start seeing, that seems like an idea. You know, good time to trial things during the retrograde and see and feel things out. But definitely from a practical point of view, have a look at Aries. Have a look at the placement of Aries, because that's going to give you a 101 of big subjects, which if I have time this year, I will do an update per star sign of the basics of big trends per star sign, what can come up. Okay, let's get into the star signs. So we're going to start off with Aries. How many Aries do we have in the house? Now, Aries, you guys are going through a lot of changes, right? We have Aries and Chiron retrograde. We're moving to the moon. This relates to your 7th house. There is a lot to do. You guys have been getting, and again, it's going to be home and house, home and hearth. Some of you could be looking at your family and your home. Some of you could be looking at, you know, where do I live? Do I need to be closer to family? You know, what is the value in this thing? Do I upgrade my home? But you also have a lot to do with marriages, contracts, partnerships coming up. Now, this can be a sudden change in the area of your love life. It can be changes in wealth. It can be brand new contracts and new jobs. But it definitely is going to be a new beginning in the area of all those things. And you will see, especially between now and next year, big changes. So suddenly you can have blasts from the past coming back. You might want to reconcile these, but it's a new beginning. You may, moving into the moon, feel a little bit scared, especially if you're single and you've been, you know, looking at a honey and thinking, gosh, what went wrong? This can be a time of closure. From the perspective of Neptune and Jupiter, try to not bite off more than you can chew. Slow and steady wins the race. I do feel many of you have been working really hard. Try to not second guess yourself, dolls, because the thing is, at the moment, Neptune is in your 12th house. You know, this could be a time to be very realistic, to not use pacifiers, to avoid emotions that come up. Let it come up. Great time to heal. So extra fluid for you. Don't get scared. You can have downloads from your loved ones that are passed over. Your ideas and fears and insecurity of what you can cope with could occur. But have confidence in yourself. Try to be realistic for a few days because there's an opposition. And try to not get too much in your head, okay? Good time to meditate, bad time to, you know, this is good for therapy and coaching and, you know, emotional support, but also to sit with it and to be open. This is going to be a new chapter, but some of you particularly could either be overzealous or you could be a little bit scared. Keep the communication open. That can be with people around you, with loved ones, but also be honest to what is working with yourself. The other thing I can say is for you that, you know, Mars at the moment is in the house of Gemini and it is transiting your 3rd house. So, you know, almost like you could go 1 minute from communicating really effectively to being very snappy, but emotional eating can come up and then it can dissipate. So try and just understand that it's part of your ascension process through the transits. And also no speeding, okay? Who's we got next? So brand new chapters, Aries, for you in your 7th house placement. Taurus, good grief. You guys do have a lot popping off, honestly. Taurus, let's have a look at yours. You with your health, some of you can be looking at, okay, I need to get more harmony and balance in my routine. I had a candid talk with my sister-in-law. I was like, how you going, Taurus? I said, you want more stability. Look, it's teaching you something to do with, you know, it's this time we say in our life, I have no bloody time. Taurians, have you been saying, dolls, that you don't have any time? Right. Sixth house is a bit of a jerk, but it also is a huge blessing. I've been having transits in the sixth house and I ended up getting Ross River. It was a bit of a sucky situation, but it did teach me both capacity, capability, organisation, skills and structure. We can deem this as the house of the undoing. So it's the things that we hide from ourselves sometimes. But it can be like almost, it could be self-esteem based. It's like, am I worthy if I am not looking like a supermodel? Am I lovable? Can I love myself? Is my body in harmony? Am I overwhelmed? Do I have some emotions coming up that are old situations of unworthiness and inadequacies? And some of you maybe just have way too much on your plate. So I feel you're going to kind of see how by changing your routine, your vitality and happiness can occur. It can actually come back into your life. This can also be something that is maybe going to require a lot of organisation that you are actually launching. It could be a project. It might be a new career. But I do particularly feel you're trying to find that way that you can be honest with others around you as well as with yourself, that you are emotionally needing some space. Now, you have to also be careful with listening to friends. The reason I say that is because the opposition is coming from Pisces in your 11th house. That can be being ruthless with your money. It may be you actually listening to other people. And remember, there's an opposition. There can be ulterior motives. But it's also, what do you need to do with your time? What are your hopes and dreams? Do you feel that you can make those things come true? You could actually be taking on a higher position, some of you. And yes, it could provide more wealth, but read the fine print because you may find with that 11th house with Neptune making an opposition, it might seem too good to be true. So make sure that you're reading it. And look, it doesn't mean to say it can't be a fantastic thing, but it can be anchored with your daily routine. Is it manageable? Is it going to take too much of your time? But just be really, really practical. Brand new friendship groups. Some of you could be actually having a look at your time management. Is it too much on the friendship side? Is it too much on the relationship side or the work side? But it feels like there needs to be some harmony. There may have been some conflicts when it did come to maybe a person around you. Any Taurians in the house? But for you personally, there's big changes and you can find moving through in a very practical sense. You do have the capacity in some shape or form to actually earn a lot more than what you had, but be practical with it. Make it go the distance. Gemini. I know you're hating this transit, Geminis. Every channel I jump on, I just love it. I'm seeing it. And Gemini's going, when are we going to get a good deal? When are things going to go right for us? Look, technically speaking, our last transit with the North Node in Gemini. After that, you guys were supposed to get some goodies, right? But we've had some pretty gnarly aspects, over the last 3 years, pretty much until we move to 2025. But we're more than halfway through that now. So keep rowing, okay? We're almost there to this new beginning. And we're going to be very different human beings on the planet, the way we interact, the way we look at things. And so in the long run, it will be positive. You guys are going through a massive rebirth. I can't understate this enough. I mean, this is going to be like Cinderella's grand entry, or I don't know. Who's an awesome guy? Keanu Reeves' entry out of the Matrix. Keanu Reeves, right? I think so. Mercury retrograde in Libra. I am Libra. So for you at a personal level, because this first house placement, you could get paranoid, okay? Mars is transiting your sign. You can feel attacked, misunderstood, misled. You do have a lot happening in your fifth house at the moment, which I think is beautiful, dolls. Things happening with your kids, things happening with old romances, rekindling of these things, unhashing these wounds. There is a possibility for a new chapter. Some of you could be like, done, Honor, I am done with this jargon. I am hitting the road, Jack, and I'm moving forward. Slow down. This is a great time to have those candid conversations for those individuals, for those of you that are in communication with them. If you're in a romantic connection, this is kind of shifting life around and trying to be fair to everyone, but you also are going through a personal change. So the communication style and how you're going to have to deal with that can be almost like you need to have an out-of-body experience. And it's like, okay, how can I explain it? This is you, and suddenly you feel under attack. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You need to step out and go, okay, where is this person coming from? So you're not hurting. You're just looking at it going, wow, okay, where's this person coming from? What the diddly-o? And that's how you're going to get through it. I do feel for you, some of you could be launching these creative projects. It could be a home-based business. It could be trying to get your house in order. And I just particularly see this to be a really, really great transit, not necessarily as you're going through it, but please try and trust the process, because you are going to get processed, but be very practical with your creativity. Some of you could feel very tired, dogs, and it's kind of an indication of what Mars retrograde will be doing, because we do, during this new moon, have Mercury retrograde in Libra, Mars in the house of Gemini, which is probably burning you out and making you be pulled in many directions, and you're fighting for your right to be you. And you could be a little bit more defined, a little bit more, to the point, but it's almost like you could get tunnel vision. Take time to unwind, take time to not rush, take time to address the areas that you feel are going to take you to your bliss. I do feel a lot of you are going to be swapping things around. Your relationship with your children, for those of you that have children, can actually be enhanced. And I do particularly feel for those of you that are wanting to launch home-based businesses, really tweaking that, working it out, getting it prepared into next month's transits. If you do want to know where the juicy spots are, feel free. We do have some updates via the website, and we do have a sale on at the moment, and I can tell you what's coming up. Next one, we have Cancer. Well, you guys are moon anyway, right? You guys are navigated by the moon. For you, with this transit in the house of Libra, lots to do with, look, some of you might be making plans and saying, do you know what? I want to buy a house. That could be now, that could be future tense. Plans could be there to shift things about. Some of you may have moved. Some of you could be decorating your home or selling a home. But overall, subjects point blank zero around mother, around your family. But I do feel it's to do with you may be even needing a break. Trying to look at, you're moving into a new chapter in your life. So this new chapter is more to do with wanting people around you that are in more resonance with who you are. Some of you could be pulled in too many directions, and you feel you're having to be understanding to everyone. And it's so, Cancer, you guys would do anything for anyone. So, if you feel that you are being pulled in two directions, hear people out, listen to what they're saying. Some of you also could be doing a little bit of shadow work and going, okay, this is really strange. This has come from my childhood. But I do particularly feel some of you could be making some grand plans. And this could be to do with right here, right now, or it could be to do with 2023 and some intention you have. Those of you who are on the rocks inside of a connection, you could suddenly decide that you want to jump ship. I'm just saying, okay? We do have VIPs on the website, which I'll tell you about later. Back to the star signs. I keep pressing the wrong one. Apologies. Hi, Ebony. Okay, so who do we have next? So Cancers, especially because you're a moon, you could be a bit emotional during that time. This could be, a really loving thing that happens. It could be a really changeable thing. You could be beautifying your home and, getting it ready. Some of you might want to sell, but I just feel whatever it is to do with you. And for some of you, you're like, okay, it could be a home-based business. How do I reconfigure things so this can be a success? And this can be a beautiful opportunity for those of you who are tweaking things for that to work. Leos, you guys are sun, okay? It's sort of like you sit both, you and Cancer are quite similar. Cancer is the emotion, the eclipses can really mess with them. And the eclipses also for you will tend to mess you up. You guys are sun and optimism and wanting to move forward. There are some big transits really happening over the next 3 months. But again, if you need that support, follow us here on YouTube and Facebook or wherever you're following me. otherwise come through and book a reading. Now, for you at a personal level, you guys have had some tough times, okay? This moon is trying to harmonize. You may have, especially because the moon can relate to family, could have been something with your children. There's all these changes, right? For you, it's almost having these candid talks. It's coming to the third house. So your third house is to do with how you talk. It could be wanting to get a new car, getting new technology, hearing news, signing contracts. But it's all to do with the big talk, right? Talking, communicating, negotiating, reading, but this to me is a new movement moving forward. And it can be a place of self-expression. So I feel particularly you could be kicking an old habit. You could be looking at something that isn't working for you at an emotional level. We did have the full moon in Pisces, and you may have felt almost that there was nobody you could depend on. It was you. You might have had some things that you needed to repair, and you're thinking, heck, how am I going to do it? So yes, there is kind of feeling disillusioned maybe by a previous conversation or where something sat. For those of you in relation to relationships, I actually have a really positive feeling. I don't know why I do, but I really do. More than likely because Saturn is going direct next month. I just think things for you are going to be shifting into high gear. Lots of changes are happening. Try and roll with the changes. But I do feel, the things that are said to you can be very heartfelt. But I also feel you're almost logically trying to tune into what to for from here next. I do feel you guys know what you need to do to make it happen. And you know what I'm talking about, big changes. I also feel changes in your diet, right? But try to not go to extremes. Slow and steady wins the race. I do feel overall your self-esteem and your confidence is moving. And your wealth also, with the many steps that you will take around this time in the confidence to accept something and see what you can and can't depend on and what needs addressing. And for some of you, it can be some paperwork. I do feel this is going to progress your life forward. Libra. Do we need to really talk about it, Libra? Libra? Do we really need to talk about it? Okay, Libra, for you guys, it is to do with yourself. And, when we hear self, we hear hair makeup. And look at this, Libra. I haven't got to do my hair. And everyone I'm talking to during this time is like, I'm getting my hair done. I'm like, it's Mercury retrograde. What are you doing? You're going to regret it. I don't know. I regret the beanie, but it has to happen because I need to colour my hair. I'm not pretentious. I'm trying to be neat for social media. So what can happen during Mercury retrograde and the new moon in Libra is you're going to want to change everything. Apart from the fact that many of you are going to be almost crapping yourself and going, everything's changing. Is it going to be okay? Are we okay day? That can be, look, you could be hot and demand and thinking you have 99 problems and, and everyone's coming at you and you're like, what about me? You're having a new chapter. Who you were going to be next year is going to be very different, especially because you have eclipses in your zodiac sign, in particular Aries. Jupiter at the moment is retrograde, transiting through your romantic sector, transiting through your financial sector. If some of you had gained weight and you're like, you know what, when's my body coming back? Especially because it's Mercury. It could be teeth. It might be, facial that you want to change. You might be considering, and I'm just ratting off some ideas. It could be, well, thanks, Star. It could be you want Botox. I'm not promoting any products, honestly. Maybe I'll think about that next year. You could be looking at dental work. You could be looking at, body changes. And especially because Jupiter is in Aries, don't be surprised in 2023 if you start weightlifting. Just go easy because Mars is moving retrograde next month. I feel for you are freaking out and sometimes sorted off, but also optimistic at the same time. Does that make sense? It's like, it's coming, but is it coming? I'm changing, but is that okay? Somebody is always going to love you for who you are. There you go. These things are going to pan out, but I almost feel it's like the Cinderella effect. It's the grand entry, you know? And so you could be in the back scenes really doing some internal work. I feel as we move through this new moon in Libra, you know, anything that you don't resonate with, you could be throwing it out like no tomorrow. You may look at your wardrobe and go, no. And it's really funny for me. I have done that already. I'm like, no. My name is Snow. My number's no. You got to look and go, no. And like by no means is it the protect. It's almost like I've changed overnight. I'm just going, no. You're not me. I don't know who you are. That's yesteryears. By 2023, Libra, you are going to be a very different person. It could be a change in career, change in status, change. You may get frustrated. And you guys are the best communicators, but it's bloody Mercury retrograde. You're partial and people misunderstand you. Mercury being retrograde, for everyone, whatever zodiac sign you are, we are going to misunderstand each other. Okay? For you, look after your health. Okay? Don't overdo it. You could have some things you're tweaking, getting ready. You're trying to get into more harmony in your life. You're realizing what you can and can't do, what's not working for you. You're casting it out of your life. And it's a little bit like a website update, really. So if that is what is happening for you, drop me a PM. Tell me how it is happening for you. Anything to do with love, Libra, your image, your diet, your destiny, your location, you are moving towards it in a very bold way. You could feel the hunch as it comes through. You could feel totally renewed. Try to get grounded through it and try to not let your emotions freak you out. 6th house of your health and Neptune. Don't sabotage yourself, okay? Don't overcommit to your routine. If you're exercising, because Mars is in Gemini, don't strain a muscle. You can be more accident prone. If you need checkups, get your checkups done. But you will find the things that you're casting out of your life, good things are going to come back to you, but it's going to be more balanced. I feel you guys want some fun. It was funny. I think it was back 2 years ago, and even last year. You know, anything 5th house is supposed to be fun. Saturn in Aquarius is going direct. That's going to enhance your romance next month, and you guys do have interesting energy coming through. So good luck with that, Libra. Please, stars, trust your intuition. Make sure you're eating healthy. Don't burn out. You can be having some heart chakra activation, you know, looking after your wellness, trying to not get too much in your head. As we do move forward into October the 2nd, we have Mercury shifting back into Virgo. You're going to get back up in your head again. Just don't overthink things and don't be critical on your image. Slow and steady wins the race. You guys are beautiful. You're going to get to where you want to be. And everything you desire is going to come to you, beautiful Libras. Scorpio, big changes happening for you guys, especially between now and the end of the year. We're moving into eclipse energy. And this month in the mix, relating to the new moon in Libra, does link to your 12th house. So it can be that you're trying to be more fair with things. It can be where you're looking at your life and saying, okay, what was the past? This can be connecting to your family and talking about loved ones that passed over. It can be where you're, you know, reaching closure with past love stories, but it could be suddenly you're feeling that you needed a holiday and you're in more balance. So if you did take a little bit of a break, you may find that this break is actually helping you feel more ready to kind of step back from the painting and say, where to from here? Generally, when you go from the 12th house to the 1st house, you're having a brand new beginning. I do see great things happening for you, but just trusting the process. Great time to meditate, increase your fluids. Also be very, you know, we need to be, especially in the area of love. Let's get down to it. In the area of love. Because Neptune is making an opposition and we can feel a little bit delusional or not practical, there could be a subject around love, romance, or children that we need to take a practical approach with, a realistic approach with, that we might go down the rabbit hole of fantasies, but we need to have those candid conversations. Okay? So overindulgence is also possible with the 5th house due to emotions through the 12th house. You know, it could be emotional eating, not from a doctor's point of view, but from an analogy point of view, eating disorders. You know, fixation, fantasy, desire. Just keep it grounded, and it's only during that pocket. It's not forever, but it can be that you need to step back from the painting and go, okay, I need to take a practical approach with this. This also can be with creative projects that you have all these grand ideas with that could relate to money and creativity. Try to just digest the information first before jumping in the deep end. But also, you know, be open to, would I say believe people? Yeah, believe people, but ask the questions. Ask those candid questions to dig to the root cause of what is freaking you out or what is making you feel you are seeing a circumstance in a particular way. I do particularly feel you could have a lot of wealth coming. You also could be dealing with group dynamics. I do feel some of you could be maybe starting a new venture. This could be a job that is a higher paying job and you're seeing all the potentials it can give you. But just really think back to, am I going for the status and the money, or am I, you know, it's almost like other gods crazy. If you are looking at a new job and you're like, wow, that's a great pay pack, psychologically, look at the hours, look at the fine print and go, do I want to do that? You know, so definitely be practical. I do feel you could be critical on yourself to do with your finances at the moment. It's going to get better, all right? Mercury in that zone helps you deal with paperwork, documents, loans, getting things done between now and October. There can be movement in that domain. There could be a bit of a delay. Signing of contracts, group activities, and launching big projects. If you are making a large financial commitment, I'm not a financial advisor, read the fine print. If you can delay, wait till October. Who do we have next? Sagittarius. Gosh, you guys are going through some big changes, guys. I'm telling you. Big wheels keep on rolling. Not long now, and Jupiter will be going into a different sign. It will be changing your life. Keep a cool at home, okay? Neptune is making you feel a little bit worried about a home environment, a family-related environment. There could be some conflicts surrounding family members. This could be a great opportunity to talk candidly, but definitely hear the other person's side. I'd also say there could be concerns surrounding that. But don't be negative, but don't be over optimistic. You know, wait till the ferryman comes. Big changes in your career sector, I would say, but I do feel many of you are going to be taking on a deeper responsibility. There could be a group dynamic. It could be a large project. It may be your career, but definitely in the area of wealth. You could be making some plans to actually make a savings plan, start a new venture, take on a management position. If you were looking for a different job that is paying more money, this is a great opportunity between now moving into October to actually get the ball rolling with that. If you did start a new position and it was from August, don't freak, right? Some of you could be going, oh my God, did I jump in the deep end and I shouldn't have gone? Just calm your farm, right? You just got in the bloody thing. Dive under that wave and just see it through. Make your decision later. Don't freak out. A lot of the balance is coming. There could be changes in the environment. If you are running a business, the 11th house is you're tweaking things to make it work. It can be updating your websites, looking at a big project, looking at a launch. It's not necessarily a great time to launch new projects in September because Mercury is retrograde. It just, you know, it's like launching a record and they can't find it. They're like, where is it? Trying to think how many people have viewed this. I've got 7 in my chat right now. So it depends on where you are, when you launch it, and what's being covered in social media. I saw this great post. I thought it was so bloody funny. You need to do SEO. SEO don't work when one subject's being covered. Unless you're writing that SEO term that everyone's searching, you're not relevant. So 11th house, Sag, you guys are making bold moves. Some of you are saving for big projects. Some of you are going, you know, darn, I want a house. And that's for those of you that don't have one. Be realistic when it comes to what is going on at home, but also don't freak out. Stress levels of what is happening at home. Try to not use pacifiers. Great time to journal, great time to meditate, great time to have those candid conversations around changes of home. What else can I say? In the area of love, you could have some chemistry going on. You could have some heated arguments for those of you who aren't on the same page, but I do think it's going to pan out. Now, Capricorn, you do have Pluto moving direct next month, so you guys will be bloody happy about that. I would be careful with the communication style pacifiers. I do feel some of you, as we do reach Pluto moving direct, you can feel quite intense. You're not going to believe this. I swear somebody's here. Nobody visits me. What about me? I'll open the door and I'm coming back. We've got 3 more signs to do. I'm not stopping. Listen to crickets. I think people don't get that I do work. I'll be quiet. I'm just finishing the video. Make a coffee. Cup coffee. Total Mercury retrograde moment. I'm a family therapist anyway. Okay, so we have Capricorn. You guys individually, apologies. You guys could have a change in your purpose. Some of you could be feeling, are you going in the right direction? Some of you could suddenly change your career field. If it had been something that had been on your mind for a while, I would say try and do your research. The other thing is dealing with any conflict at work. 9th house can also be to do with marriages. It can be to do with marriages in your older years. So between this month and next month, there could be some subjects to do with if you had separated and you're like, okay, what's my destiny? Where am I going? Yes, we can have some breakups during this month, and it can happen, right? But also renegotiations and balance things out. I do see some of you could travel for work. Some of you could be looking at a foreign country. It might be a foreign company. It could be a foreign country and you're in love with someone and you like the logistics between where you are versus where they are. How are we going to make this work? Some of you could travel abroad. Some of you may be the type that works online or is going to upskill and have a new sense of education, or you could be educating other people. You may be taking a new role on within your employment. The area I'd be careful for is stress. Okay, don't believe everything you see. It's transiting your 3rd house. Book a coaching session or reading if you want to dig deeper. But also with pacifiers, be careful. So if you're getting stressed and you're avoiding, sit back, journal, think about what it means to you and what you want, and have those kind of conversations, but get things in writing. Okay? Aquarius, changes for you are big. Yes, next month we do have Saturn and Aquarius moving direct. You also, during this transit, do have the new moon in Libra happening in your 9th house. Some of you could be connected to a person from a foreign culture. You may be looking at your belief systems at the moment. You could be looking to return to school. Some of you could be dealing with a circumstance surrounding a sibling and you could turn over a new leaf. This also can be a 2nd or a 3rd marriage. But there can be some documents that you need to address for a new beginning, right? That can be if you were having any disputes going on with an individual and you were trying to iron the creases out. This can be a good time to renegotiate the terms But also, if you were running a home-based business or anything to that degree, it's great for advertising, but it's tweaking the style and the way that you are doing things. You also could go into teaching other people or upskilling, to move into a higher tier level of employment. Within a love domain, it could feel like a negotiation and seeing if each other on the same page. There could be cross wires to do with belief systems and values and love. But I do feel it's going to harmonize out and you can actually negotiate those terms. I do feel some of you could actually be getting to a point that you're ready. 8th house can be to do with inheritances and things to that degree. But it's also to do with you creating stability in your life. And you can be some of you can be really pissed off at yourself. I should have been, I should have been in the prime of my life right now and I should have had a bank account with $100,000. And that washing machine should not have broken down and I should have had my own house. So if that's going on, the good thing is at the moment, Virgo transits are helping you look at what you can do to make that happen. And to not look at the whole process and get overwhelmed and, beat yourself up for not being where you need to be. It also can be where you do investigate chemistry, sexuality, intimate connections, who you can depend on, who you can't depend on, and what what's outdated in a sense. But it's also the frequency of not freaking out and saying, guess what? This is very similar to Scorpio. It's understanding that endings and new beginnings are happening all the time and you are having a brand new beginning. You could be really over optimistic or very pessimistic to do with your finances and where you stand at the moment. Jupiter is going to move back into Pisces later, so your wealth can increase, but you're taking a very realistic approach and not to be overzealous or using pacifiers to deal with your stress levels. That can happen. So you may find during this moon you're getting stressed out. It could be, is the person going to stay with me? Are they going to leave me? How does this make me feel? Am I going to be okay? Can I depend on them? Old wounds can come up. Do some inner child work. Use some citrine and express how you feel, but try to not hold it in and try to not use pacifiers to deal with those, fear-based frequencies. Last but not least, Lord Pisces. Pisces. Hi. Who do we have in the house as Pisces? Pisces, right? You had a full moon. You're going through what Libra's going through. Except right now you're kind of like, okay, the old me's dead and gone. Read aura. You could feel disillusioned. You might want to just look at the world and go, do you know what? I don't want to be here. I don't like it. I just don't like it. You are having an opportunity to look at what you can depend on. For some of you, you may have had a passing of a loved one, but it would have happened a while ago. Generally not so close. Do you get what I'm saying? So if there is something to do with tax, inheritance, legacies, it could be coming back to you now. Or if it is most recent, it will be in the next, I would say, 6 months. It's coming, right? There's also a rebuild that you're going through. You could have a lot of chemistry. You could be looking at your sexuality. It's 8th house. But you're also wanting to be fair to individuals, but don't give so much. It could be that you're giving. Give and take, not needing to give everything to understand that we can give and take. I do feel some of you could secure into a relationship that can be very stable and you're actually reviewing the deal where it does come to your marriages, contracts, partnerships, where you're looking at, okay, in order to have a successful love life, what would that need to look like? What is the give and take in this? Is it viable? This can even be with your creative projects, tweaking things, taking things out that aren't working, building up your resources, having the friends around you that can love and support you, and reconnecting. So I do feel some of you are reconnecting to these individuals, connecting to people of the past. It could be a lot of paperwork that you're currently dealing with. Some of you also could be looking at loans, savings, bonds, shares. I would say particularly because Mercury is still retrograde and it is a new moon in Libra. Non-sure deals back off from, and that's for anyone, because you're going to find, especially as we have these interesting transits, it might be iffy at this stage. So especially with Neptune and Pisces, just be realistic. Everything in moderation. Love and light. Let's see anything else I need to tell you guys. Number one is we do have a brand new membership that we are launching via the website. It is going to be covering so many different things. We have events that we have always hosted via the website, and they are now going to be free to paying members, or they're still open to the public. We also are going to have other things in the membership like meditation TV, webinars, classes, education seminars, astrology pre-released, and some things that are going to be exclusive to the VIP members. If it's something that you're looking at, come through and have a look. It's already open to be viewed. You can actually see the subscription page via my website. It goes into the jargon of what's going on. I'll be uploading this video after that will give each platform an update of what this new subscription actually has for you, and it will cover star signs similar to this, pre-released. So FYI, we are changing things around. The last edition that I'm doing online is already open for the star signs. It was a subscription, and I have done that pretty much through to November for them in bits and pieces. And I'm just about to finish the 3 editions for the twin flame updates, and they're going to be open. And then this will be the big launch for the VIP membership online. So if you do want to come through and have a look, the link is directly below. I'll just let it ride out, you know. I didn't realize it was so long, and I talked too fast. Separately, I do have super chat in the dark sessions that can be found on the booking page. Now, what they are is they're super chat sessions that are private linked. They are via YouTube, but they're private. So if you want to ask me a private super chat, you can actually book your spot. I have 2 open at the moment for October. Grab your ticket and you can come and join us with that. And I do have a sale up on the website at the moment. So I hope that covers everything. I hope you enjoyed your update, and I hopefully will see you on the other side of this Libra moon. Really do some meditation, clear your house. If you do feel an energy attachment, I would definitely say do a general removal of the house, do home clearing, smudging, drink water, put your crystals out, give it a couple of days before you make any major decisions, and be open to sudden changes. Take care, guys.